is more, by the way, regarding attacks on the Hindu community in Bangladesh. This story does not come from Bangladesh. It comes from the United States of America. Former U.S. President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has spoken out strongly against the ongoing attacks on minorities in Bangladesh, specifically targeting the recent violence against Hindus. In a post on the platform X on Thursday, Trump labeled Bangladesh as a country, quote-unquote, in a total state of chaos, condemning what he called, quote-unquote, barbaric violence unleashed on Hindu, Christian and other minority communities in Bangladesh. So was Donald Trump just condemning what the minorities, specifically the Hindu community, are going through in the country, or is there more to this? Yes, there is more, a lot more in fact. First, look at the timing of this post. You see, the message from Trump came on Diwali, the festival of lights, celebrated by Hindus worldwide. So Trump, in a way, could also be reaching out to the community just days ahead of the US election. In fact, as per reports, Trump's statements seemed crafted to resonate with a demographic that has historically leaned towards the Democrats. With 5.2 million Indian Americans eligible to vote in the upcoming US elections and the community's growing influence, the Republicans see an opportunity, a major one. You see, Trump's message did not just stop at condemning the violence. In his post, Trump said that the Biden administration, led by US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, has, quote-unquote, ignored the Hindu community across the US and the world, adding that under his leadership, this situation, the targeting of minorities in Bangladesh, would not have happened. You see, Trump's post is multi-layered. He's not only condemning the attacks in Bangladesh, he also seems to be depicting a narrative that the Biden administration is not doing enough to protect the community. In his post, Trump also said he will, quote-unquote, protect Hindu Americans against the anti-religion agenda of the radical left, adding that he will look to strengthen US-India relations and his friendship with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, let's just pause here for a moment and look at this from a broader perspective. We are just days away from the US election. As per reports, the Indian American community is divided regarding the two candidates. And reportedly, each candidate is working towards capturing this rapidly growing voter base. Why is that? Well, because Indian Americans, despite making up only about 1.2% of the US population, have reportedly had a major impact in several swing states in the past. Votes that could make or break a candidate's chances of becoming a US president. As per reports, historically, Indian Americans have supported the Democratic Party, but recent trends suggesting that this loyalty may be shifting, at least somewhat. According to a survey conducted by private non-profit organization Carnegie Group in partnership with research and analytics firm YouGov, although the Democratic Party still holds a lead, Trump is seeing a marginal increase in support from the Indian Americans demographic. As per this survey, for Harris, 6 in 10 Indian Americans are likely to vote Democratic, while Trump can count on around 1 in 3. A number that, while modest, perhaps signals progress for a group that is traditionally favored Democrats. The survey also, in fact, reveals gender differences within the Indian American voting bloc. 67% of the Indian American women reportedly favor Harris, while only 53% of men support her. Very interesting. Conversely, Trump sees stronger support among Indian American men, with nearly 39% backing him. With such numbers, does the Democratic Party have reasons to worry? Yes. You see, there has been a shift according to the survey. In the year 2020, 56% of the Indian Americans identified as Democrats. Today, the figure is down to 47%. Meanwhile, the proportion of Republicans has held steady and the share of independents is growing. So what does this really mean? This shift might suggest that Indian Americans, while still largely supportive of Democrats, are increasingly open to alternative voices. And with Trump appealing directly to Hindu Americans, positioning himself as a champion of religious freedom in a way, can he capitalize on this opportunity is the question. Interestingly, being of Indian descent does not guarantee votes from the Indian American community. According to the survey, Indian American Republicans like Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, do not have high favorability ratings within this community, illustrating that Indian heritage alone does not secure the Indian American vote, which could be a cause of concern for Kamala Harris, who, as you remember, is of Indian descent. So again, the question is Trump's message just about Bangladesh or what's happening there, or perhaps a larger strategic ploy aimed at reshaping how Indian Americans actually view the Republican Party, a community that represents the second largest immigrant group in the United States? Even though the Biden-Harris campaign may still enjoy majority support, could Trump's targeted outreach on issues that actually matter to Indian Americans make inroads? Because if the Republicans can even capture a small percentage of the traditionally Democratic voters, it could reshape future elections and perhaps tip the balance in this one. In a race this close, every vote matters, and if Trump's appeal resonates with enough Indian Americans to make a difference, actually, it could very well be the game changer he may be hoping for. And this, of course, is a story that has far-reaching implications, not just for the United States, not just for the community there, but around the world. And this is an election that is being closely watched. Let's get in ground inputs from our correspondents joining us on the broadcast live at this moment. Susan Tehrani in the United States and Anas Malik in Iran. We'll come to you in just a bit, Anas. But first to you, Susan, just break down for us, as we just outlined, in an election this close, every vote matters. Looking at the way the demographic has been shaped and has contributed towards the elections in the past as well, what has the reaction been like to Donald Trump capitalizing on this Bangladesh incident, the situation there, and how, if at all, the Biden campaign might be losing out?
Well, what happened was, as opposed to capitalizing on what's happening in Bangladesh, the Indian American community that I talked to said that the former president saw that there was a vacuum of sort of a silence regarding this issue on the part of the Biden administration and now Harris's campaign, who, as you mentioned, is partly Indian herself. And because of that, the former president decided to not only talk about the issue of Bangladesh, he was also lobbied by many Indian American super PACs and PACs as well, one of them being Hindus for America First. We talked to its founder actually a couple of days ago, and he mentioned how much he's been lobbying to the Trump campaign regarding the concerns of the Indian American community, but also the Indian diaspora all over the world. So he was very pleased with the former president's comments. On the other hand, besides that vacuum, we saw that the former president gave a message of Diwali. When the former president did that, Kamala Harris had not done that yet. Again, because, of her Indian origin, a lot of voters hope that she would, notably Indian American voters and those celebrating Diwali. After President Trump's message, Harris's message followed on the platform X. So as you rightly mentioned, these issues are of great concern, not only to the Indian American community, but people that are concerned about human rights issues here in the United States. They're watching these messages very closely and the timing of these messages as well. And the Trump campaign really had seized the moment on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think the question that many will also ask is, what will the former president do about his concerns once he is in the White House? And that's the million-dollar question. But I remember about 4 years ago when I did one of my first reports for WION on the election in 2020, it was about the Indian American vote, and you rightly noted they do lean Democrat, but it has changed tremendously in the past 5 years, and it's very diverse. It's a very diverse group here in the United States, and the Indian American vote is very important to both parties.
Yes, of course, I remember that report, Susan, from those many years ago. But, speaking of the priorities for the Indian American community, you have outlined what they feel about this particular issue. But in a broad, general sense, what has your assessment been like when you speak to them about what they really care about and what their priorities are at this point?
What I gather, just like all Americans, the economy is first and foremost very important to them. There is something called the 401k here. It's one part of the retirement plan that's of great concern to the Indian American community, that the numbers might get a lot less if Kamala Harris is elected. And the reason for that is because the Indian American diaspora really has a footing here in the United States. And while there are a lot of younger Indians traveling to the United States, studying here and starting families, the older generation that's been here really rely on those 401ks for retirement, and they've worked very hard, long lives. So the economy is first and foremost very important, but the issue of inclusion is also very important. But then you talk to many of the younger generation of Indian Americans, and not everyone has the same view, and for them Kamala Harris sort of embodies not only having an Indian background, but also embodies a change, if you believe it or not, from the past. Maybe it's because of Donald Trump and Joe Biden being older, but they try to look at her as a leader for the future, and one that can spearhead a lot of progressive ideas that not just young Indian Americans, but the younger voters here in the United States are concerned about.
Right, and this entire incident in a way also speaks a lot about how the Trump campaign is aggressively, highlighting issues and milking them, just like, for example, the garbage row that has escalated beyond that just one statement. We're leaving it there for the moment, Susan. Thanks very much for joining us with those inputs. Of course, coming back to you as and when we have more. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.